Welcome to Whole CEO with Lisa G. I'm the best-selling author of The Boss Weight Loss. I'm bringing you the top tips to be unstoppable. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to actually pull up a chair with today's top experts in mindset, weight loss, business, and more. Learn our top tips so that you can have more energy, be fit and resilient, feel unstoppable, unshakable, and unbreakable. He's passionate about speaking, has a pretty unique story. He's overcome a lot of obstacles, and that's why I wanted to speak to him. He grew up shy, introverted, dyslexic, moving on to getting 2 black belts with a never quit attitude. He couldn't get a job when he graduated, so he started his own company, eventually pivoting into tech. He's now referred to as the Master Connector, having over 17K followers on LinkedIn. Steve Spiro, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Lisa. It's a pleasure to be here. Honored to be here with you today.
Oh, I'm so excited to welcome you here. I want to talk to you about how can we become unstoppable in business as a master connector? Because I see that you have on your bio that you're a master connector. And what does that really mean?
Yeah. I've always had my hands in a bunch of things, right? Even while I was in the advertising industry, I was working a lot of hours. I was working, as you mentioned, I had 2 black belts. I had a karate studio, and then also had some real estate investment stuff. So I've always had a lot going on. And even when I focused in career, when I would tell people what I do, they'd be like, huh, I don't get it. I'm like, just call me the Master Connector. And that name just sort of stuck. But yeah, over time, I mean, just growing a network and a community, and that has been a blessing to me. And quite frankly, I know, a lot of your show is about how people have pivoted, from this pandemic and what they're doing. So this was amazing for me, because while we were all kind of feeling locked down and maybe isolated, I know the Northeast, we got hit really hard here and nobody was going anywhere, but having the ability to reach out on LinkedIn and actually connect with people. And, we connected through Simon Parsons. He and I connected through LinkedIn, and just be able to connect with people around the country and even different parts of the world, and be able to jump on a Zoom call and be able to connect and actually build relationships. And that feeling of isolation actually was not the case for me at all. In fact, I felt more connected than ever before. So being a master connector, I mean, that's really just it's really just a personal brand, if you will. It's not a company per se, although I do have the Master Connector show that we do on LinkedIn Live every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Little plug there, but
Awesome.
1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, that is, because I know you're West Coast. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and it's intriguing because people like, when they think of the name, or they see the name, they're like, what does that mean, right? And so there's a sort of intrigue to it, but it's great, and it really represents who and what I'm about, because connection, being a connector, it means a few things, right? It could mean you have a lot of connections, right? So it could be the networking side, building a community, sure. But also, I love connecting the dots with people. I like the ability to make introductions and see how other people can collaborate and how I can facilitate that. And then the third way that you're a connector is through connecting authentically, right? Which is when you're talking with people. And I know you sat through a presentation I did recently with Simon, and his team. But it's just, how do you connect authentically, and how do you really reach people? And whether you're doing it through social media in your posts, whether you're doing it through how you're speaking on a Zoom call, whether you're doing it when you're out and about living life and just speaking to people, just connecting on a real personal level, not just on this sort of superficial level.
Well, the reason I want to ask you about that, because I know Simon and I both consider the same thing. Like, he calls it the pitch slap, where there's so many people up in your DMs on LinkedIn all the time. Like,
yeah.
How many clients do you have? Is this a new business? I can get you 30 to 40 appointments on your calendars. Like, it's almost like they want to sleep with you before they even kiss you, and they don't even make that kind of connection first authentically. So that's the reason why I wanted to ask that question, because sometimes people in their their meaning is good, but they skip the first part.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I like to say, ditch the pitch. And funny, when I get those messages, I feel like there's a way you could address it. So here's what I do, because I want to be always somebody who's giving, and we're going to talk about being a go-giver later, I'm
Yeah.
sure. But I love to be able to just in a nice way tell people, listen, what you're doing is wrong. So here's what I do when people pitch me on LinkedIn. I say,
Yeah.
listen, I appreciate the aggressive approach. Now, whether it's going to a bot or them, I don't know, but I say it anyway. I appreciate the aggressive approach. However, I only like to do business with people I know, like, and trust. I'm happy to get to know you, jump on a call, get to know you on more of a, on a just to get to know each other level on meet and greet. And then if and when there's synergy and we feel good about it, yeah, then later on another call, I'm happy to hear your pitch, your presentation, a little bit about your services. If you're okay with that, let's get on a call. And most of the time people tuck tail and run. Few people are like, yeah, I'll get on a call, and it's all good. And hopefully I've kind of taught them something that, listen, I'm like the average person. They don't want to be pitched. I'll do business with someone I know I can trust. So don't pitch me.
Yeah,
You know?
no, I appreciate that, just because I get pitched, and I'm sure there's nothing special about me, a lot. I get pitched a lot, and now I know a good way to handle it, because I am into building relationships. And I know you also wrote on your profile that you're a go-giver, and I was really intrigued by that, because I feel like when you lead with generosity in life, you can go far. What do you think about that?
100%. So, one of my favorite books is The Go-Giver, and there's a Go-Giver series with Bob Berg and John David Mann. And Bob Berg we were privileged to have him on our LinkedIn live show. Great guy, and he's really active on LinkedIn. So if you tag him, you'll probably get a response right away. But I love the book, and I love the idea, right? And whether it's whether you're spiritual, religious, Bible, whatever, it's there, right? You sow, you reap. You give, and then eventually you get. It's just the law of nature. It's the law of reciprocity, right? So It's important to give, and then eventually you get. And what's good about being a go-giver is people see your heart. If they feel like you're in this this conversation, or in, like, it's crazy. My messaging on LinkedIn is very genuine. It's very others focused, which, by the way, I was very self-focused for a very, very long time. I was very much me focused, right? But I made the shift and made the transition. And my messaging out on LinkedIn is something to the effect of, hey, it's good to connect. My feeling is, if you don't know much about the person other than what's written in their profile, what good is being connected? I know it's old school, but let's jump on a call, just to kind of get to know each other. And, maybe I could add value, or perhaps I have some connections I can introduce you to. Sort of the with them, right? The what's in it for me in terms of them, right?
I love the with them.
Yeah. And so what I hear back sometimes, it's interesting, is what's the pitch? What's the angle?
They want to know the pitch.
Why does it have to be a pitch? Who's saying it's a pitch here? But it's sometimes people's own, unfortunately, negative perception from their own challenges, right? I think when we talked with the conversation I had with Simon and you guys, I talked about, when you go to pet a dog, right? You get one of three reactions. You get a dog that kind of growls, they want to bite your hand, or you might get a reaction where the dog kind of, they wags their tail and they lick your hand and they're all excited, or the dog that kind of acts a little like a cat. They just don't care. They walk away, right? And it's not you. You're not. The dog is just the dog, right?
It's not personal, right?
Yeah, it's not personal. So I try to be a go-giver. Not everybody, they maybe think there's an agenda, but there's not. I'm thinking, let me see what I could do to be of value. And I know that eventually, when you give, somehow it'll come back to you. Maybe not from that exact transaction, from that experience, but it'll come back to you. And the minute I flipped to a go-giver, which really more happened just before the pandemic, I put a life's mission statement together. And just so happens, the year COVID hit, I had the best year financially I had. And then the year after that's been even better. And so, but for being a go-giver. Yeah.
I love that. Well, I know there was something else that intrigued me in your bio about being a sales and business overcomer. And I kind of believe that everything is business and sales, everything in life is overcoming objections. So do you want to touch upon sales a little bit?
I can. And I think, again, similarly, if you go into the idea of a sales transaction with a WIFM, right? With thinking, okay, if I'm in their shoes, what am I, and try to learn, again, what keeps them up at night? What's their biggest challenges? If you could try to find those things out first versus, let me tell you about my company, let me tell you about my product. No, why don't we find out more about you and let's hear what your challenges are. Like a great question to start a conversation, if possible, if you're in an opportunity to. I did some research on your company. What an amazing company. I'm curious, what got you, how did you start your company? What made you start your company? Or, whatever, right? What's some of the challenges you've had over the years, right? You've done amazing, right? People love talking about themselves, right? That most favorite topic in the whole wide world is themselves. So you get them talking, you start to hear some of their challenges, some of their obstacles. And then maybe on a second meeting, you say, listen, I appreciate everything you taught me. You told me today. I feel like there might be some things we can help. Let me take it back. Let me talk to my team. Let's set up schedule another follow-up meeting where we could address, some of the things challenges you've told me about and what we could potentially do to help you. Now it's a whole different story than just coming at them with a product and a price. And yeah, now you're going to get a lot of objections. When you come in with find out the need, the want, desire first, then show them, hey, if this is a way, let me ask you, if I have a way to solve these challenges, would we have grounds to move forward? What are they going to say? And again, if it's within, the budget that you have, your parameters, do we have grounds to move forward? Yeah, there's no reason why they wouldn't. The challenge why a lot of rebuttals and a lot of objections is because people have a tendency to try to rush the sale, or they're not a well-equipped sales professional because they're not asking the right questions. They're not really digging in. And then now it's tougher. And now you have to kind of try to play on the offensive, on the defensive rather. Play on the offensive in that you can not be offensive, but find out what their challenges are. Great book I read recently called The Challenger Sale. Really, really good book. And it helped kind of reinforce that idea for me.
That's so good to know. So I'm learning so much from you. I hope you guys are taking notes because, like I said, everything in life is sales. Like if you want something, your kid wants something, your spouse wants something, they're going to enroll you in that. They're going to try. So you're saying now 2 phone calls is better than 1.
Yeah, well, phone calls or sales calls or whatever your way that you do business, right? But when I'm trying to set an appointment, and my appointment is just purely what I'm doing when I'm getting out there, in my consulting space, what I do as a business automation consultant, I'm actually, either calling or emailing, and my sell, if you will, is to sell an appointment. It's not to sell a product, it's to sell an appointment. Right. In that appointment, I want to know, I do a discovery meeting. I want to understand their needs and their challenges. I'm not going to present anything on that first meeting. Why? It's like, because now you're in the pitch mode, right? I'm going to want to come back again with maybe some ideas, or maybe I'll come back in a second meeting with maybe a demonstration. Depends on what we're talking about here, right? I'm in the software sales, SaaS kind of space. So you're probably not going to have one meeting and sell something. You're going to probably need the demo, maybe proof of concept. And then you come back, and then the next time, maybe you come in with an actual business case, right? A business case proposal, right? And then you could kind of come back with that. That's the process that I tend to follow. But again, it could be, there's different things, but if we're talking car sales, maybe it's a little different, right? And that's a tough area right now.
Driving off in the car.
Yeah.
Well, I really want to help people thrive better in the pandemic and bounce back better. Do you have any final tips for our audience about how they can be unstoppable based on the stuff that you've overcome in your life?
Yeah, I think number one, have a never quit attitude. You mentioned it when you read a little bit about me. I really believe that if you don't quit, you win. Another great book that I read is The Infinite Game by Simon Sinek. He also wrote a great book, Start With Why, but that other book was great, The Infinite Game. And he basically says the companies that they outlast everybody are the ones that are going to win, right? So just know that if you don't quit, you win. That's one big thing that I've learned, and that's helped me tremendously. I learned that in the martial arts. I passed everyone in my class in the martial arts because I just stuck with it, and a lot of people gave up. So that's one thing. That the other thing I'll just say is this: is that if you learn how to really connect authentically, that's a huge piece for me. Is that really authentic connection? I think you'll stand out. Technology has been great. It allows, like you and I, Lisa, that, you're in the West Coast, I'm on the East Coast, even though I know you're a New Yorker by heart, right? But
Right.
yeah, exactly. But it allows us to connect through technology. But if you're not really connecting authentically, there's always a barrier. Technology can be great, but it also can create barriers. So learning how to really connect authentically, if you're going to put a post out on social media, make sure it's something that's a little authentic, where it's not just some pitch. If you're going to speak to somebody, find out their story first. Have them speak first. If you're going to go out there and you're going to meet somebody, have a conversation, at the supermarket, and you're going to meet a stranger, like I like to do regularly. Ask them about themselves. Get them talking. Right. I was on a call this morning with a young man, and I think I said probably 3 words. And 18 minutes later, I didn't say anything, but he spoke, and that's great.
And then he thought you were the most interesting person in the world, probably because you listened.
Right. Exactly right. So be others focused, be persistent, never quit, and you will thrive in this new economy, in this new normal that we're in, which who knows what it's eventually going to be. But I think this is the best opportunity we have, because it shook things up, right? It got people thinking differently, and I think that's a good thing, right? So now
silver linings. There's like a silver lining here if you don't quit.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Well, Steve Spiro, you're freaking awesome master connector. Where can people find you? I know we connected obviously on LinkedIn through Simon Parsons.
Yep. LinkedIn is a good way, but the simple way is just go to stevespiro.com. So STEVESP as in Peter, IRO.com. And on there, it's kind of like a link tree. It's my digital business card. It's got a lot of ways to reach me. As a speaker, I've got my speaker website, which is spiro-global.com. You can also, again, find me on LinkedIn. I do have a YouTube channel. I'm on Twitter. There's other ways, but the best way is just go to stevespiro.com and you'll find me quickly there.
Well, thanks for being guest on Whole CEO with Lisa G.
Appreciate you, Lisa. It's a pleasure. It's an honor.
Thanks for coming to Whole CEO with Lisa G. After over 20 years helping people lose weight and get fit, I'm so excited to announce that I found the missing link with my coaching. Message me if you want to learn how to look better, feel better, and go faster with a master. Lisa G at lisagfit.com.